Hi, my name is Kathy Greenwood, and today I'm going to talk about this piece, which is called Waste Not For. It's the fourth in a series of pieces that have to do with thrift and with collection of cloth, which I've been doing for a long time. My work has long been occupied with domestic textiles, with saving them over the years from my family, as heirlooms from my children when they get too worn out to give away. And some years ago, I started disassembling those pieces of clothing and cutting them into strips and weaving them into braids. And the braids would become these large balls of colorful fabric. And I had the notion that I would actually make a braided rug. And I wasn't any good at it. It buckled and it folded, and I found that it was very hard to make it lay flat. So as an artist, I saw an opportunity. I thought, well, okay, I guess it wants to be sculpture. And that's how the Waste Not series came about. And so in these pieces, I create small modules, little components. And once I've got several dozen of them assembled, I go into my studio and I put them together in a composition, which is what you see here today. Once I begin to stitch them together, I have also added stuffing, like from a pillow, to give them more dimension and to kind of control the sculptural qualities of these pieces. And that it's backed with a felt backer. The stitching that holds the whole piece together, it acts as a binder, but it also is a mark-making tool. And so I've left the thread as kind of a prominent feature, a series of marks within the sculpture itself. Within this series of Waste Not pieces, I thought about them as being created both for the wall and for the floor. Obviously, I'm using these rug making techniques, which echo domestic textiles, which they're also composed of. And while many pieces in this series have been developed for the wall, I was interested in really emphasizing the play on the rug itself by placing this piece on the floor and letting it act as kind of a domestic landscape, which you see in the kind of hill-like sculptural qualities of the piece. In this piece, you see a lot of color. And in general, the works in this series are very, very colorful. However, I'm not a colorist. I'm actually really bad at choosing my own colors. And so one of the ways that these pieces are processed is that in the braiding of the strips of clothing, it's very random. I don't make a lot of selections when it comes to choosing what color goes next to what other color. And so when the piece is finally assembled, it's kind of a surprise to me how the colors come together. And so that's very intentional. And I'm happy about the overall very vibrant, colorful quality of the piece, but in a way, the color choices of my family have informed the colorization of the piece more than my choices actually have. The way that this series came about was in part through my need to be able to do my work in a lot of fits and starts. I'm a busy mom and I have a full-time job. And so having hours and hours in the studio is something that eludes me right now. And so I've adapted my work practice to be able to put together things quickly, put them aside, pick them back up, work on them until I'm interrupted, put them back down. And so I've gotten very comfortable with having the work time stretch out over a good period of time. A piece like this begins with collecting clothing and then disassembling it, cutting it into strips, and then braiding that big colorful ball, and then building the modules that will eventually become assembled into the finished piece. And so this piece, for instance, from the very beginning to the end, might take as long as 3 or 4 months. So that gives you a sense of what the processing time is like for me. Thank you for spending time listening to me today and contemplating this piece. I hope that you'll come see the exhibition, Artists of the Mohawk-Hudson region, at the Albany Institute of History and Art. And I hope you'll enjoy the whole show. And I'll continue to work on the series.